Telecalling spam has become a widespread annoyance in India, ranging from persistent marketing calls to complex financial scams. These unsolicited calls disrupt daily life and present a serious security risk. The widespread prevalence of telecalling spam in India is undeniable, with statistics highlighting a troubling scenario. Data from Reserve Bank of India for the financial year 2023 shows an alarming 13,530 fraud cases in the banking system, nearly half, 49%, or 6,659 cases involving digital payments. The question stands, how far is this aimed at?
एक सर्वे के अनुसार भारत में 60% लोगों को हर दिन 3 से ज्यादा स्पैम कॉल्स आते हैं और इन स्पैम कॉल्स के जरिए लोगों को लोन लेने, क्रेडिट कार्ड लेने, लॉटरी लगने, किसी कंपनी की कोई सर्विस या सामान खरीदने का झांसा।
रिपोर्ट के मुताबिक स्पैम कॉल से प्रभावित होने वाले देशों में भारत पूरी दुनिया में चौथे स्थान पर है।
In today's video, we will first examine the new guidelines issued by the Consumer Affairs Ministry are related to which economic law and why. Later, we'll also discuss as to what new measures do these guidelines propose to effectively prevent spam calls, building on previous consumer complaint mechanisms that have proven inadequate. So, hi everybody. The Consumer Affairs Ministry in India has released draft guidelines aimed at curbing unsolicited business communication such as spam calls and text from businesses like bank, insurance firm and property dealers. Businesses must comply with the Telecom Regulation Authority of India's rule on commercial messages and ensure that communications are from registered numbers. Both businesses and their agents will be held accountable if given for the unsolicited communications. The ministry has invited public comments on these guidelines until 21 July 2024. The draft guidelines prepared after consultations with the stakeholders aim to protect consumers from intrusive and unauthorized marketing. Now, this above scenario is related to economic law, but which one? The answer is Consumer Protection Act 2019. The scenario primarily relates to the Consumer Protection Act 2019 in India, which is specifically mentioned in the draft guidelines. This law aims to protect consumers from unfair trade practices and ensure their rights are upheld in the marketplace. The draft guidelines, by subjecting unsolicited business communication to this act, leverage its framework to impose penalties and enforce compliance. Additionally, the guidelines intersect with several other laws and regulations as in, number 1 is Telecom Regulatory Authority of India regulations. The guidelines reference TRAI's 2018 regulation on commercial communication is set to rules for telemarketers and aim to reduce spam. These regulations require businesses to register their telemarketing activities and to adhere to consumer preferences for receiving such communication. Second law is Information Technology Act 2000. This act addresses various aspects of electronic communications and cyber activities, including the protection of personal data and unauthorized access. Unsolicited business communications can sometimes involve violations of privacy and unauthorized use of consumer data, which fall under the purview of the IT Act. And the third law is Personal Data Protection Bill. Although not yet a law, the proposed Personal Data Protection Bill in India seeks to regulate the processing of personal data and protect the privacy of individuals. It includes provisions for obtaining explicit consent from individuals before collecting and their using data, which is relevant to the guidelines, emphasizing on the obtaining digital consent for communication. Ahead, a question based on regulation implications would be, what new measures do these guidelines propose to enhance the effectiveness in preventing spam calls and fraud, considering previous mechanisms for consumer complaints and prevention have not adequately curbed the issue? The new guidelines introduced by the Consumer Affairs Ministry aims to address the persistent issue with the unsolicited business communication through several improvements as in, number 1 is enhanced definition and scope. The guidelines provide clear definition of what constitutes unsolicited business communication, including the use of unregistered numbers and lack of digital consent. They cover all business communications related to goods or services, ensuring comprehensive protection for consumers. Number 2 is accountability and penalties. Both the businesses and their agents will be held accountable for violation. For example, if a bank's agent makes unsolicited calls about loans, both the agent and the bank will be liable. The guidelines propose significant penalties for violations, which are expected to act as a strong deterrent against the non-compliance. This is a step from previous mechanism which may have less stringent penalties. Number 3 is digital consent and opt-out mechanisms. Businesses must obtain explicit digital consent from consumers before sending promotional messages. For instance, a consumer might have to check a box or fill out a form online agreeing to receiving marketing communications. Companies are required to provide easy and clear out options in every communication. For example, every promotional SMS must include an option to reply with stop to cease the further messages. Number 4 is identity and purpose disclosure. Telecom operators must clearly display the identity and purpose of the call. For example, when receiving a call, display should not just show the number but also the name of the company and reason for the call. This ensures that consumers are aware of who is contacting them and why, reducing the risk of fraud. And number 5 is technological solutions. TRAI is exploring the use of blockchain to improve tracking and compliance. Blockchain can provide a transparent ledger of consent and communication, ensuring that only authorized entities can send messages to consumers. For example, if a consumer consents to receive messages from an insurance company, this consent is recorded on a blockchain. Any attempt by unauthorized entities to send messages will be automatically flagged and blocked. Now after this, practically under banking, a bank that wants to market a new credit card must now obtain explicit consent from its customers digitally. If the bank fails to do so and continues to send unsolicited messages, both the bank and any third-party marketing firm it employs can face the substantial fines. Under insurance, any insurance company must ensure that all its promotional calls clearly state the caller's identity and purpose. If a consumer reports a call that did not provide this information, the company can be penalized and the telecom operator will be required to block the future calls from the entity that compliance is ensured. And under real estate, a real estate firm must offer an opt-out option in every SMS about the new property listings. If a consumer opts out but continues to receive messages, the firm faces immediate penalties and the consumer can report the violation easily through an app or online portal. In conclusion, India's dynamic telecom sector is marked by continuous evolution. Despite practical solutions proposed by the Department of Telecommunications and the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India over time, there remains a need for stricter enforcement and minor refinements. To better this, the new guidelines introduced by the Consumer Affairs Ministry are designed to create a more transparent, accountable and consumer-friendly environment, thereby significantly reducing the prevalence of unsolicited and fraudulent business communications. Hope you liked the video. Let's unlock together your full potential and achieve remarkable success in the world of business. If you're new to the channel, do like, share and subscribe for more such content related to business and finance. Till then, goodbye everyone.